I'm Aneesa. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Offbeet Life. We'd love it if you'd stay and subscribe, and also follow us on Instagram, where we're sharing healthy living tips and ideas, as well as food and travel. So today we're going to be making a vegan hamburger helper. And this is not something that we eat every day, but sometimes we're in the mood for comfort food, so that's what we're in the mood for today. So I thought I would share this recipe with you. So in the recipe, it's actually not too hard in terms of ingredients. We've got pasta that I've already prepared, and the type of pasta that we're using is this kind of noodly pasta. I don't really know what this pasta is called, but this is the one that I recommend. Then we've got onions and garlic. So I've got one chopped large white onion here, as well as 8 finely chopped garlic cloves. So I know that's a lot of garlic, but trust me, it is worth it in this recipe. I've got some vegan sausage. The sausage that we're using here is the Beyond Meat hot Italian sausage. So that's going to add some really lovely bulk to the recipe and going to give us that hamburgery kind of feel, taste without actually using hamburger. I've got a lot of different spices in here. I will share the spice blend that I'm using and the measurements in the description box below. But to give you an idea, we've got I can't even remember now. We've got obviously a little bit of salt, we've got some chili powder, we've got oregano, we've got thyme, we've got smoked paprika, we've got garlic and onion powder, so a lot of things to really flavor this up. Then I have some fire roasted canned tomatoes. So I've got one large can here that works out to, I think it's 14 ounces, so it's the large can. And I'm using fire roasted. You could use regular, but the fire roasted just gives it a little bit of extra oomph in the recipe, so I recommend that. And these are crushed tomatoes. If you don't have crushed canned tomatoes, you can certainly use regular canned tomatoes and then crush them up before you use them, or even in the pan as you're using them. I've got some tamari here as well, so I've got 2 tablespoons of tamari. You can also use soy sauce or coconut aminos, depending on what you're comfortable with. This just gives the dish a little bit more depth of flavor, the umami flavor that we're looking for. Then I've got a blend of a few different vegan cheeses. You can use, I recommend using a vegan cheese that is like a cheddar style would be really nice, and that's what I've got here. I'm using a couple of different kinds though, just because I was cleaning out my fridge, but I have about 6 or 7 ounces. I think actually this is 6 ounces of cheese, but I would say it's probably about a cup and a half's worth of shredded cheese. And then of course we've got our pasta that I've already boiled and drained. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to use a large Dutch oven. I've got a tablespoon of oil in there. Normally we don't cook with oil, but again, because this is a comfort meal recipe and it's already got some, higher fat ingredients and things like that, I'm not too afraid of putting a bit of oil in the pan right now to cook. So I've got that heated, and I'm going to go ahead and add in my onions and garlic. And I'm going to let this saute in the pan until the onions get translucent. That's probably going to take about 5 to 7 minutes, so we'll go ahead and get that started. And I'll have you join us as soon as we've got translucent onions. Okay, so our onions are now at the point where they are translucent. And you can tell that they're translucent. If you look carefully, they're translucent, so they're like a little bit see-through almost, you can see. They definitely have softened. They haven't browned too much yet, and you want to be careful of that because the garlic is in here too. So we never want to overcook our garlic because that can make our dish really bitter and basically you have to start again. So we're right at that perfect point. It's been about, I would say maybe 7 minutes at a medium heat. And now I'm going to go ahead and add in my spice blend. And I'm just going to let that turn in here. I'm going to stir it up for a few seconds, just so it kind of heats through a little bit. It kind of develops all of the flavors before we add in the other ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and add in our sausage. And our sausage, I've just kind of chopped it up roughly. Got my sausages just kind of working through here, getting the flavors going with the spices. But you can see here at the bottom of the pan, it's kind of catching a bit, it's getting some browning happening, and that's like a lot of great flavors. We don't want to lose any of that. So what I'm going to do is just get a little bit of water to deglaze the pan. Not too much because Also, we thought the fat that's going to be coming out of the sausage, so that's going to help to kind of get the flavors going as well too, and pick the bottom bits off of the pan. So just a little bit, just to work it through. And we'll keep this going for another, 2 minutes or so, and then we'll add in the rest of the ingredients. So it's been about 2 or 3 minutes, and our sausage is just cooking away. What we're trying to do at this point is just actually almost fully cook, actually really fully cook the sausage. The other thing I should mention is if you can't get a hold of the Beyond Meat sausage, you can certainly use other vegan sausages, or you could even use a vegan ground round, which is also great. Depending on the brand that you're using, you might need to flavor it up a little bit more or less. So what I would recommend is when you're putting in the spice blend and you've cooked everything all the way through, you might want to taste it at that point and see if you want to elevate any more of the flavors with your spices. But the reason that the Beyond Meat spice or the Beyond Meat sausage really works well is because it already has some extra fat in there as well as seasoning as well. So again, you just might have to balance your flavors a little bit depending on what meat substitute you're using. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in my crushed tomatoes and the tamari. So now we're just stirring it all the way through, and I want to be careful to make sure that I'm getting up all those flavor bits on the bottom of the pan. You can see that the pan is like clear at the bottom now. All those dark bits are gone because that flavor is infused in our sauce. Now at this point, this sauce would be really delicious just over pasta, but we are going to make it, as I said, a hamburger helper version of pasta. So you'll see how I do that in a second. So to make this a hamburger helper, I'm now adding in my cheese blend. And I'm going to work this all the way through, and I'm going to wait for this to melt. So this will probably take about, because it's vegan cheese, it's not regular cheese, it will probably take about 2 minutes or so to get this heated all the way through and melted. And once that happens, then we're going to add our pasta. So you can see here our sauce has really come together. The cheese has melted. It's very creamy now. See some of the shreds are still kind of breaking down, but they're pretty much broken down. Now we're going to go ahead and add in our pasta. So I've already boiled my pasta, and I just cooked it according to the package directions. I'm using a whole pound of pasta in here, so it's a whole container or a whole bag. And we're going to work it through. You guys can hear this, but even just as you're mixing it through, it just sounds delicious. It sounds like comfort food. Okay. And at this point, you could serve it, which is what I'm going to do. You could also put it in a casserole dish, add more cheese to the top, add a crumbly topping if you wanted. Like I've seen people use like a vegan Ritz cracker style topping, and you bake it in the oven until it gets really bubbly. You can do that too. But I think this is ready to go for us. So here's our finished dish. I can't wait to get into it. I highly recommend making it. If you do, please take a picture, share on Instagram, and tag us. Also leave a comment. Until next time, please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.